So to get to the Accommodate login portal, you can click on this banner inside our website that just says Accommodate. Feel free to bookmark this page here. So there's two types of users. There's registered users and instructors. Registered users are anybody that is registered with us, which includes students, faculty, and staff. So that's why it doesn't just say students. Instructors are the faculty that are working with us in the capacity of instructor. So I'm going to go ahead and log into that one. So ordinarily, it would ask for your UTC ID and password using our central authentication system. But I've already signed into a sample professor here. Her name's Miss Adria Brubaker, and we're going to be looking at her Accommodate account. So this is the home screen, and you'll see that there's a news feed in the middle that has an announcement currently that if you need any help with Accommodate, to contact me. Anything that the DRC feels like you need to know about Accommodate, or any announcements that we need to make about Accommodate, or about some student issues or deadlines, or anything that we'd like to share with you guys, it will come up here in the newsfeed. So the most important tab that we'll be working in is the Courses tab. So we'll go ahead and take a look in there right now. So we see that currently Ms. Brubaker is teaching two courses, this Additional Simplicity course and Bob Ross Painting, which is my favorite. We are going to go ahead and look into Bob Ross Painting by clicking the View button under Actions. So it begins on the Course Details tab here, and it just gives you some basic details about the title, the professor, how many hours it is, when the class meets. It's 10 to 12, so it's a 2-hour class. So keep in mind that it starts at 10. And we'll look at that later when we look at exam accommodations, because it has a really cool feature. So we're going to go into enrolled students next. And here you can see all of the students that are enrolled in Ms. Brubaker's Bob Ross Painting class. And you'll notice that 2 of them currently have accommodations listed. This means that these 2 students have requested their accommodation letters for the semester. And so now when faculty view their enrolled students in a course, they will be able to see who has accommodations and what accommodations they're eligible for. So a little behind the scenes information here, Ms. Blanca also has accommodations, but because she hasn't requested her accommodation letters for the semester, that means that she has decided not to disclose that she has a disability and is working with our office yet. And so you will not be able to see that. So if students haven't gone through that process, then they will still remain anonymous. And the last thing on this page, you'll notice that there's a check mark here on Ms. Prevo's line, and it's under the note taker column. And what this means is that Ms. Prevo has been activated as a note taker in this class. So you'll notice that Bo here has a accommodation for note taking or assistance with lecture notes. So he will likely have a volunteer note taker that will share their notes with her or with him. And Ms. Prevo is one person who can do that. She can upload her notes directly into the Accommodate system. The DRC staff will assign her to Bo, and Bo will be able to see her notes. And Bo will also remain completely anonymous. And so if you guys know, in the past, we've asked faculty to help with this by making an announcement in class to find a volunteer note taker. And this is no longer necessary. We can do all of this directly inside our system, and the DRC staff work on that. So that is everything that we need in the Enrolled Students tab. Next, we'll go to room bookings. So this is actually about exam accommodations. You'll notice that there's two tabs, one that says approved and one that says pending. So in the pending tab would be any proctor requests that have made that have not yet been approved by faculty. And approving an exam accommodation here is not necessarily giving your stamp of approval. It's actually just letting us know that you have reviewed it, that you have responded to it, and that way we know that we have all of the instructions that we need. There's nothing in pending right now, so I'm going to go back to approved. And it is always possible to edit a already approved exam. So we're going to go in and we're going to edit this one. Editing it allows you to do everything that you would have done when you originally approved it. So by going back to this now, I'll show you what it looks like to approve an exam accommodation. So you'll notice that Bo has requested in a proctored exam for Bob Ross painting. The time of the exam is 10 o'clock. So remember I told you that the start time of this class is 10 o'clock, and that that's an important thing to note, because students will now only be able to schedule their exams for the time of the class with no exception. The only thing that we can do about that is that if students have some sort of conflict, for example, if receiving extended time interferes with another class, then they need to make a note of that for us, and either DRC staff or the faculty can override the testing time. So you'll also notice that the length of the class, remember, was 2 hours, correctly 2 hours. And so the length of the exam is automatically generated based on the class's length, and it includes the student's eligible extended time. So Bo has time and a half. So for a 2-hour class, he would have 180 minutes. Student resources. So Bo has suggested that he needs subject-specific software. And it says, please describe below. And so in the notes section, he wrote that he needs Photoshop. And the exam won't be the entire class length, but not sure how long or if in the first or second half of the class. So he has provided some good information for the DRC. In the student notes section will also be where students can write in if they have a schedule conflict and suggest what would be a better time for them to take the exam. And I say that all of this is suggested because when the DRC staff or faculty go in to approve this, anything can be adjusted as necessary. So from here on, where it starts with length of exam, is the information that the faculty provides. So you see here that Ms. Brubaker has told us that no, this exam will not be 2 hours, it will be 1 hour. So like Bo said, it won't be the entire length of the class. Getting in touch with faculty during the exam is really important because students in the class are able to ask questions. And so it's important for us to be able to allow our students to ask questions as well. So we ask for some means of contact that we can get hold of you during the exam. Here, Ms. Brubaker has indicated that she would like to text, and it says to provide additional information below. So this is the hypothetical phone number that we would text. Just for your information, any personal contact information that is shared with us will not be shared with the students, and any texts or emails or anything else will come directly from the DRC staff and probably our personal cell phones. Next is, how would you like the DRC to obtain your exam? So we have a new option now that says, I will attach it here and then see uploader below. So here is the item that says attach exam. And so you can actually attach your exam inside Accommodate, and it will be secure. The student will not be able to see it. It will be in Accommodate's database, so to speak, which is in the cloud. managed by Simplicity. It is not managed by us or UTC at all. The other cool thing about attaching an exam here is that when you like to, you can actually go back in and remove it. So it does not have to stay there, and you do not have to rely on us to manage the exam. Next is, how would you like to receive your finished exam? Just so that we know what is the most convenient way to get it back to you. Required materials is letting us know if there's anything that the student needs to complete the exam, like a Blue Book or Scantron. It can be none is required. It says, please first select whether the student or the DRC is responsible for the item. If you provide it for your class, we will provide it for the student. So here, Ms. Brubaker has indicated that the DRC should provide, which means that she's providing a skinny green Scantron. And then describe additional resources. So this is where you can tell us if the student is allowed to have a cheat sheet or certain formulas. Here, Ms. Brubaker has confirmed that Photoshop is necessary. Next, she has approved the appointment. And it says here, if you do not approve the appointment by 8 a.m. the day before the exam is scheduled, it will be automatically approved by the staff to make sure that it's on our schedule. So like I said, approving is not giving a stamp of approval. It's just making sure that we know that you've seen it and that you've provided us instructions. If it doesn't get approved, the student will still be able to take their exam with us. And then some additional notes for the DRC. So Ms. Brubaker let us know that students can access Photoshop materials on the Blackboard course. Students should not access any other materials than what is in the exam folder on Blackboard. So that is some pretty critical information for us to know. So I'm going to hit submit. And that is how you approve a exam booking, assuming that it hasn't been approved yet. So we just sort of went through that approval. So if it were in pending, it would move to approved at that point.
Hey, Holly, I have a quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
So back on the screen where you're putting in the information, beside the submit button, there's a save button.
Yep.
So does that mean that you can save it as a draft before you send it to the DRC?
I'm assuming so. That hasn't been specifically addressed with us, but I'm assuming so.
Okay, thanks.
On the same line, if you do happen to submit it, you can always go back and edit it. So you just go back into the same edit button and you can edit it. And this is where you can go back and attach the exam. If you want to attach it here, you can go back and do that at any time. The other cool thing about attaching an exam inside the system is that whenever you want to, you can also go back in there and remove it. So I'm going to submit this again. All right. Let's go back to course details. In order to get out of the current course, you have to click this cancel button. And now we're back to the course catalog. If you look at past courses, this is actually a complete historical listing of past courses that the professor has taught. So you can see that Ms. Brubaker is very talented. She teaches Bob Ross painting and calculus. But if you were to look in any of these classes, we'll go ahead and look at this one. You will be able to see the students that were enrolled and what accommodations they had. If there were any room bookings, you would be able to see all of those. So it's a complete historical record. And we'll get out of here. So the rest of the tabs up here are resources and my account. In resources, this is where the DRC can upload any important information that we think that would be beneficial to faculty. Right now, there is only exam approval instructions. So this is a document that will give you a refresher on what we just went over if you need it. And my account really shouldn't change anything in here. This is pulled from Banner. Yes, this is syncing appropriately, unlike the student schedules right now. In privacy, it's good if you turn on email notifications if it's off. This is how you'll receive notifications from the system about any actions that the student has done that you might need to be aware of, such as submitting an exam booking request. Don't need to change anything in passwords or preferences because we use central authentication, so the passwords aren't created here in Accommodate. And activity summary is blank. I honestly don't know what it's for. I have noticed that some faculty don't have access to my account, but that's fine. I've also noticed that other faculty have a tab for events, which I'm honestly not sure why, but if anybody has noticed that, I would really appreciate letting me know and we can take a look into it. But I would assume that it's just another helpful tab to keep track of any events that are being scheduled. So that is actually everything inside Accommodate that faculty need to know about. I will open up to questions. And if you don't have any questions now, or if you are unable to ask them, do feel free to send me an email at any time. If you notice anything in the system that is acting glitchy, or if you want to know more about anything, do feel free to hit me up. I am accessible for anything to do with Accommodate.
Hey, Holly. So to confirm, we no longer need to receive any documentation like an accommodation letter from the student.
Good question.
Correct?
So you will receive accommodation letters, but you can still access all that information right within your account.
Okay.
Something new also is that students are now able to email their accommodation letters directly to you in a PDF. Or if you've seen a previous email that I sent, occasionally students can forward an email that they have with the accommodation letter embedded. I have just asked students to avoid that option because it's not very user-friendly for faculty. But those are options for students getting their letters to you. And I do appreciate your time. And I think we'll stop here. Thank you very much.